But just to cut the long story short, like it got to a point where I was always hustling around my work, and so was he. We set up quite a few companies whilst we were... Come in, ladies. Hello, ladies. Yeah, just grab a chair. If you just grab a chair, or Obi will help you, yeah. And yeah, it just got to a point where we actually moved to Dubai 2017. We were both employed when we moved to Dubai. So I came here as a teacher. I was working for the MOE, decent salary. I think it was like 21,000 dirhams back then. So it was like really good. And that was like years ago now. He was on a good salary as well. So technically, like together.
Yeah, I think we were doing like 50K a month.
Yeah, together, yeah. So it was, this was like 7 years ago, and Dubai was a lot cheaper, right? So
Dubai was cheap.
On the outside, it was like, everyone's like, oh, you're not doing well, you got money, this, that. But there was still that thing where I was like, but I'm still working for somebody at the end of the day. And there was still that part of me that wasn't satisfied because my time was dictated, even though for the MOE, for you guys that know, it's like, not even real. Like you go into work. Yeah, I'd have half days all the time.
Me at like 12, I'm like, what are you up to? So I'm on the way home.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not even having lunch yet.
Yeah. It was an easy job, the easiest job. Like if you want to do nothing in Dubai, work for, so, but even, that's why I know that no, when you know you're meant for more, you can't really fight it. Because I should have been grateful, right? I was earning so much and literally didn't have to go to work. I was in the sun, but I still was like, this is nonsense. So I just always feel like when you got that overwhelming feeling, like you all do, you're all here, you've got that overwhelming feeling that I'm made for more, do not ignore it. Yeah. Don't ignore it, because there actually is more for you out there. And when you try to quench it, and that's why I used to be like, oh, you're great, Tommy, be grateful, you're in Dubai. You always try to quench the feeling, like always have these conversations like, are you not grateful? Like, look at your colleagues in the UK, they're this, that, you're in Dubai, don't quench the feeling, So, and with my husband, similar situation. Your work was a bit extreme.
Yeah, so for me, obviously, obviously our backgrounds, like, I don't know why I was so rebellious growing up, but it's like, even though I saw my parents be successful, for me, really, it was more my dad that was successful. My mum was more kind of like, she played it safe, in my opinion, and I didn't really like, my dad took huge risks. Like, I remember growing up, he bought one property, and then he just started refinancing aggressively and buying loads more. And then when the financial crash happened, he was very highly leveraged. And then unfortunately, like he got cancer and actually passed away. So that was a very tragic and emotional period for me. And I was always thinking in my head that I'm going to finish what he started. And when I had teachers telling me what to do, I always used to think to myself, like, and what Tommy said, that feeling deep down, I know I'm meant for more. And when I used to look around and see what was going on, I thought, the only way to make serious money that I want is to dictate my own life is through business. Because if someone else controls your paycheck, they control your destiny. Because if someone says, if you're a good boy or you're a good girl, I'm going to give you 5% extra next year, that's not life. I want to go out and hunt what I kill. So I went into sales. And then, we decided to move to Dubai the first time. My wife was this was 2017, she was on 21,000 dirhams a month. I was on a sales job, so I think commission, I was on like 18,000, but with commission, we were doing like 25, 30K. So overall, we were bringing in about 50,000. But like my wife said, it still wasn't enough. It didn't feel like enough because...
The financial wasn't a problem. It was the feeling of like, I know I'm not doing
I'll tell you what it was for me. I remember the World Cup was happening, I think 2018. And I said to my boss, I'd like to take some time off. I'd like to go to the World Cup. And they emailed back to say, yeah, we'll confirm once we know how many people are off if you can go away for some time off. What did we do the next day? I just handed in my notice and said, that's it. And then since that day, I've never worked for anyone else ever again. So when you have that feeling, it's really, really important not to ignore it, because you can be great. And I believe every single person in this room can be great and can make all the money they want. Like, who wants to earn more money? Every single person in the room, right? I have a mindset where I personally believe, and this is just my mindset, but I believe if you're broke, you thoroughly deserve it. That's my opinion. I believe that if you're broke or you have no money, you deserve it and it's your fault. And the reason I say that is because we have choices. And what Yinka said was a great point, right? I know people that during the COVID and during the economy, they lost jobs. One person said, you know what, I've lost my job, I'm not going to do anything about it. Another person said, I've lost my job, I'm going to do anything I can to build a business and to keep going and to keep pushing. For example, the gym I go to, there's a guy who trains me. He's good friends with a guy called Harley. I think you know him, Harley. They were telling me that during the war, their business has thrived and is like 3 or 4x because people are buying way more. And their business has gone, they've made millions from that gym during the time when people were saying they were struggling. Now, he sells luxury goods. So this isn't even something which is cheap. He said his average order, someone will buy a 25K Hermes bag from him in 10 minutes, and then sometimes some days he's clearing like 50, 60K. This is the kind of environments that I'm around. People are buying new Rolls Royces when other people are saying they can't pay their bills. So for me, there's such a discrepancy of people's economies. People are always winning. So you have to say to yourself, I can be the victim and say, oh, I can't get a job. You can always do more. Have you reached out to more people? Have you gone on more interviews? Have you posted on social media, I'm looking for a job, these are my skills, who wants to hire me? I think we can always do more. And I think that even if we can't do more, it doesn't serve us to have the mentality of we can't do more. We should always have the mentality of, it's my fault. I done a video on my Instagram, you can check it, it's my fault. If my cleaner misses a clean for Airbnb, I say it's my fault. I should have had a backup cleaner. If a tenant doesn't pay me, I say it's my fault, I should have done better background checks on them. If my rent goes up, I say it's my fault, I misjudged the landlord. Like, you have to take accountability in life if you want to be truly successful. Another thing I'll say is that, look, we all have different tolerances to risk. But one thing I can say personally is putting myself in the most uncomfortable positions that I've ever been in has what's yielded the biggest results. Because it's forced me to be creative, and it's forced me to think to myself, how can I find a way? When you have that, when you live too much in your comfort zone, you don't actually know what you're capable of as a human being. When you throw yourself into the deep end and say, I have to raise 100K in a week, how am I going to do it? Your juices start to flow. If I'm going to get my 4K salary at the end of the month regardless, it makes you comfortable. And
I would say like the worst case scenario with everything. If you're like an analytical person, then just look at worst case scenario, write things down. I have my notebook. I have so many things that I write down all the time, because if you don't write it down, sometimes it's not tangible. So if you say, Christiana, you know, I'm in teaching and I know I don't want to be in teaching, right? And I want to get out of teaching. Write things down. What do people say about you? What is something that you can do for little to no money? Just write this down. It's just good for you to brainstorm sometimes. Your actually skills, gifts, talents, passion, experience. Excellent. Once you learn how to be excellent,
money will come.
Excellent.
It will come.
If you are a nails person, make sure you've been taught the newest nail technique. You are ahead of the game of your market, because people will see your excellency and they'll come to you because of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So everybody, I feel like, not everybody, but I feel like some people with business, they feel like, oh yeah, just get money. No, money is a byproduct of excellence. That's factual. So spend time in being excellent at what you do. You will not suffer for money.
Yeah. Okay, so my thing is, Marvin, you're now gonna go into this realm of content creation, okay? Like,
but guys, honestly, I want everybody to connect as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this guy, I'm gonna be putting it out there. Like,
and for me, for example, content creation, I know it's important. Everyone here needs to leave today to understand that you have to be on social media, okay? It's free. But it's so hard. It's not hard, okay? So if you say something's hard, it's hard, okay? It's trying it. Trying it and perfecting it is what you're saying as well. But you just have to try, because then the more you do it, the more you're gonna get better. For me, I can sit in here, I can speak to everyone, but when it comes to a camera being on and trying to remember what I have to say, I forget, I go blank. But if I don't keep doing it and I don't keep pushing forward, I'm not gonna get the clients that I want to get to.
So why? And this is the worst you'll ever be when it comes to posting.
I can always delete it. Do you know what I mean? No one cares. No one cares. Oh, what? Thank you. What? See, I didn't even know. So you never know who you can reach, right? But I want you to understand that when I record or when I'm behind the camera, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, did I say the right thing? Am I putting my best foot? Is what I'm trying to get out there, getting out there? And sometimes you put too much pressure on yourself. Just get it out there. Just get it out there. That impact of her knowing who I am is more important than being perfect in front of camera.
No one cares.
No one cares, literally.
This is the worst content you will ever put out there. And you will always improve. But one thing I want to add, just for your question, is content is also about accountability.
Yes.
So one thing I say, where's the mic? One thing I say is, you won't see me post every single day on my IG, but you'll see me do stories all the time to stay relevant. But I've got ads cooking in different countries all the time you wouldn't even know about. And we're reaching thousands of people. I can't remember the last month we did less than 30,000, 40,000 on ads in the last year.
Spend, by the way.
Yeah, on advertising. And that's in America, that's in London, that's across the world. And you have to be visible. And either you have to find a way to force the visibility. We can't be so arrogant to think that companies that are worth billions are advertising, that everyone knows who we are. I used to think in my head, everyone knows who I am, it's fine, everyone knows. They don't. That's so funny. I used to think in my head, I used to say to her, I can't go to a property event in the UK and someone doesn't know who I am. Everybody knows who I am. But then I realized that, hold on, the whole world can't know who I am, surely. And then when new people, but what makes it funny though is that when we're doing ads, and then people are like, oh yeah, I just heard about you yesterday. I'm thinking, what? You don't know who I am? Yeah. I couldn't understand it because I just thought, surely everyone knows who I am by now. But they don't. Because I'm thinking the UK is so small, like how many black boys in property driving Lambos? I'll just be real. People are gonna know. Nobody knew. So I thought, okay, cool. And it's a very humbling experience to realize that you can spend 30,000 a month on ads for 10 years and you've still not even got a drop of the ocean to who's out there. So you can think to yourself, I'm sure you guys have thought about it, everybody